Let's get it. So again, happy Monday. I'm looking forward to the call tonight. This call will kind of be a part two, if you will, of the previous call that we did last Monday. I think tonight I'll do a really good job at going a little bit more in depth and shedding light on some topics that I kind of breezed over, but they're so relevant and so important and paramount to your life. So I'm going to start this call with a question, and it's the same question that Jesus asked his disciples in Matthew 16. And here's the question I want to pose to you: What does it profit or what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Then he goes on to ask the second question, and he asks them, is there anything worth more than your soul? So what does it profit? What does it benefit a person to gain the entire world, gain everything, wealth, riches, fame, notoriety, influence? What does it profit a man to gain all of that but lose his soul? So here's what you have to understand: the journey of success, the journey of life, is not so much about getting what you want, getting to the destination. It's more so about who you become while you're in pursuits of getting what you want. It's more so about the state of your mindset, the state of your mind when you arrive to that said destination. So here's what you have to understand is when I mention the soul, when Jesus mentions the soul, what is he talking about? What does he mean when he says soul? Does anybody know what he means when he says soul? What does it profit to gain the world but lose your soul? What does he mean when he says soul? Does anybody know what the soul actually means? I kind of breezed over it last week, but I want to go a little bit more into that tonight, amongst other concepts. So, do you have anybody in the chat box that wants to jump in there with an answer of what they believe the soul to be? Going once, going twice. Sold, no pun intended. Cal says eternal spirit. Close, not so close. Close, but not so close. I'm gonna give us good clarity tonight on what that is. So let me actually make my wife the oh, I keep pinning her. Let me make her oh, I just messed that all up. What am I doing right now? Okay, there we go. All right. Wife is the host. All right, cool. So let's get to it. Sorry about that. So what the soul is, it's your mind. The soul is your mind. Your soul is comprised of your mind, your will, and your emotions. But your willpower, the willingness to do something, the lack of willpower that keeps you from doing something, and your emotions are all affected by your mind. So when Jesus says, "What does it profit for the man to gain the world but lose his soul?" What he's saying is, what does it mean? Like, what is it worth to achieve all of this stuff, but your mind isn't right? You have no willpower. Your mind is now, or your commitment now bow down to your emotions, how you feel. You have no willpower to get up and do. You have no willpower to say no to things because true freedom is found in your ability to just say no. So, what does it profit a man to gain everything, but he has no ability to say no because he's in bondage, he's in chains. So, what does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? Now, my question for you, another question: What does the mind look like? Does anybody know what the mind look like? Has anybody saw a picture of the mind before? None of us have. None of us have. What we've saw are images of the brain, and the brain is an organ. But your mind, however, is in every single cell of your body. And many people commingle the soul and the spirits because they sound similar, because they both are, to an extent, spiritual, because you can't see either. But your soul is immaterial in nature, like your spirit, but it's not your spirit because man is a three-part being that lives in three different realms, and man has three different set of consciousness, or three sets of consciousness. So you're a three-part being living in three realms with three sets of consciousness. So the soul and the spirit are not the same, but if we aren't educated on this idea, we believe that they are the same. So the soul is immaterial in nature, like your spirit, but it's not your spirit. But your soul is almost like a perfect blend of your physical body and your spiritual body, because your soul cannot exist without your spiritual body and your physical body becoming one. Is this making sense? But unlike your spirit, though, your soul is corruptible because it's your soul that's developed. So your soul was formed, but your spirit was created. Why is this important? Because you have to understand that I just mentioned it, your soul is corruptible. What does that mean? Your soul was developed through many different factors, but the most primary factors or the most important factors are education, environment, and experiences. So your formal education and your self-education make up your soul, the way that you think, your mind, how you process things. Your environment is stronger than genetics. You take a kid that's Chinese, put him in East Atlanta, he's gonna grow up listening to East Atlanta music, liking East Atlanta food, even though his genetics says that he's Chinese or Asian. His environment says he's from East Atlanta. So environment is stronger than genetics. So environment plays a part in how your soul is developed. And then the final component is experiences. Every experience that you have plays a part in how your soul is developed. Because remember, your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. So, what if the education that I've gotten, the environment that I've grown up in, and the experiences that I've had over the course of my life, what if they're all negative though? What if all of that is negative? What if the environment that I grew up in is negative? What if the education that I got was not correct? It was not right. And what if the experiences that I've had throughout the entirety of my life were traumatic? What happens to my soul, my mind? It's now corrupted. Why am I mentioning that to you? Because it's your spirit, man, the core, the essence, the trueness of who you are that is perfect. Remember, we spoke about this last week, but maybe you weren't on the call, maybe you missed it. So let me give you some more information to make this make sense and bring it home for you. In Genesis 1, man was created. The spirit man was created in Genesis 1. And he spoke to man's spirit in Genesis 1 and gave man's spirit dominion in Genesis 1. But in Genesis 2, this is where he formed man from the dust of the ground and poured out Eve from man's rib. It takes faith to believe this story. It takes so much faith to believe this story. And when you and when you start to believe this story wholeheartedly, without any doubt in your mind that this is the genesis of creation, this is the genesis of who I am, you can move and groove with a different level of power and authority because it's the spirit that is perfect. It says in Genesis 2 that God breathed breathed the breath of life into man's nostril. The word breath in that statement means ruach. Ruach means the spirit. That's what the breath of life was, the spirit. And it was when the spirit was combined with the dust that the man was formed, that the soul was produced. So man is a three-part being living in three realms with three sets of consciousness. So let me pause real quick. This is also why this is also how God could speak to Jeremiah and say these words: before I formed you, I knew you. Before I formed you, this is what he says in Jeremiah 1. Before I formed you, I knew you. How is it that he knew Jeremiah before he formed Jeremiah? Because what he knew about Jeremiah was that Jeremiah was him. Because Jeremiah was created from the breath of life, like all of us. So as it was for Jeremiah, so shall it be for me and you. Before God formed you and I, he knew us because he knew our spirit, because we possess his spirit. So your soul was made manifest when God's spirit connected with the dust, the matter of man. The soul was then produced. So the soulish version of you, your mind, is developed. But the spirit version of you, the essence of who you truly are, the real version of you, was created. Now, I'm going to just pause for a minute and y'all just let me know in the chat box if y'all still tracking with me, because I don't want to go too fast. I want to make sure that we grasp this information and that y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. Because if you pick up what I put down and this makes sense for you, this could be revelatory information for you if you did not currently already know this level of knowledge. Because transformation takes place with awareness. Transformation takes place with awareness. And when we become aware of who we are, the essence of who we are, and recognize that that has a level of power and authority, we can move through our lives a bit differently. So what does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? The soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Your soul was developed through your experiences in life, your education, the environment that you grew up in. All of this played a part in your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. But your spirit, man, who you truly are, your spiritual essence, that part of you was created. That part was not formed. That part of you is the likeness of God. That part of you is the image of God. That part of you carries creative genius. See, the first thing that we learn about God is that he is a creator and he possesses creative genius. And if we don't read anything past Genesis chapter 2, we know that God is a creator. And so with that, we have that same level of creative genius on the inside of us. This is why you have to become extremely aware about this level of knowledge and understanding, because the first thing that God tells us about himself is that he's a creator. And we were created in his image with a level of creative genius. Can you get everybody out? I gave you host. I need you to mute the lines out, please. I can't mute anymore, I don't think. Let me just take those back. Bam. Easy fix. All right. So your spiritual essence was created by God, and it learns nothing from this physical world. Your soulish essence, your soulish, the second part of you learns everything from the physical world. Your true version, your real self, learns nothing from this physical world. Pick up what I'm putting down. Your spirit man came with pre-installed knowledge. It knows everything about your life. It knows everything about what you need for your life. It knows every person that's going to come into your life. It knows everything that you're going to do in this life. Your spirit man has always been here. But your soul man, the soulless version of you, the second part of you, is also very important. Because it's not until that your soul becomes submitted to your spirit that your spirit can now rule over your life. Who knows the things of a man except the spirit of the man within him? This is what Paul asks, I believe, in Corinthians. Who knows the things of the man except the spirit of a man within him? Who knows the things of a man except the spirit of a man that is within him? Because the spirit that is within you is perfect. The spirit that's within you is omnipresent. That means it's everywhere. The spirit of you in you is omnipotent. What does that mean? All powerful concerning everything about your life. The spirit of man that is in you, the spirit of God that is in you, is also omniscient. That means it's all knowing about everything concerning your life. So your soul was formed through a sociological process. Again, other factors, education, experience, environments. Your body was formed through a biological process. You know what that process was for you to get here. Your body is the container. But your soul and your spirit are the contents that go inside the container that give value to said container. We talked about that last week. So what you have to understand is that this battle is not over your spirit. The battle in life is not over your physical body, but the battle is over your soul. And many times we go through challenges in life, we go through adversity in life, we go through mishaps in life, and we could fall into the assumption or fall into the erroneous belief that this is a physical battle because what I see is happening in the physical world. But a lot of times, most of the time, all of the time, 99% of the time, the thing that's under attack is not the thing that the enemy actually wants. What he really wants you to do is give up your mind. Because Jesus asked the question, is there anything worth more than the mind? See, your spirit is perfect, it's incorruptible because your spirit comes from the Father. Your soul is where the battle is. Your spirit is perfect, it cannot be corrupted. But your soul can easily be corrupted and manipulated and misused. And this is why your soul must be submitted to your spirit. Again, Jesus asked the question, what does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? He knew the importance of the soul and how it plays a part in every single moment or every single part of your life and your existence. Because your mind is what determines your decisions, your mind determines your behaviors, and your mind determines your actions. So if the enemy can win there in the soulish realm, there between your decisions, your behaviors, and your actions, how can you win? How can you win in any other arena? So your soul is your mind, but your mind has levels. Your mind has levels. And the first level of your mind is your conscious mind. It's your thinking mind. It's your rational mind. This is where you process information as it comes to you. This is the part of your mind that is manual, and you have to recruit your manual mind to do the work for your automatic mind. Now, your automatic mind, this is your subconscious mind. This is the part of you that controls pretty much all of your behavior. The majority of all your behavior and your habits are born. They come from your subconscious mind. I believe Bob Proctor, he talks about the paradigm and how your paradigm is a set of behaviors that have become so habitual, they have logged in your mind, and it becomes your paradigm. But I believe the number or the percentage that he said was that your paradigm controls about 95% of all of your behavior. This is your soul. The battle is for your soul. Because in your soul, your mind, this is where decisions, behaviors, and actions are all done or not done. So the first level to your mind, the first level of your soul is your conscious mind. Again, it's your thinking mind, your processing mind, your manual mind. And you have to recruit this mind to work for your automatic mind because your manual mind, here's where the power is. In your manual mind, your first level of your mind, your conscious mind, this is where you can accept or reject any thought that you choose or choose not to think about. A great philosopher says it like this: you can't stop a bird from landing on your head, but you can stop the bird from building a nest. What that means is you can't control what you think or what thoughts you have, but you can control, you do have the power to control what you choose to think about. There's a difference in that. So I can't control the thoughts because the thoughts come from everywhere, but I do have the ability to control what I think about on a repetitive basis. And what I choose to think about is going to be what my automatic mind, my subconscious mind, my heart receives. So when the Bible talks about the heart, it's talking about the subconscious mind. What we speak flows from our heart. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. Guard your heart more than you guard anything else, because out of your heart, life flows. This is what I'm sorry, not David, Solomon, the wisest man to ever live. These are his words. He says, guard your heart, guard your subconscious mind more than you guard anything else, because out of this mind, life flows. So from your conscious mind, you have the ability to accept or reject and choose to think about any thought that comes to your mind, or choose not to think about any thought. Whatever thought you choose to think about on a consistent basis gets lodged down, gets pushed down into your second level of your mind, which is your subconscious mind, your automatic mind. And when things are in this mind, you just automatically do it. Like, you don't have to think about tying your shoe, you automatically do. When you first start tying your shoe, though, you had to consciously think about, okay, I got to put this one under this one, pull it tight, make the bunny ears if you do the bunny ears thing, and then take them under, boom, then pull them. You had to think about that. When you first got in your car, you had to consciously think about driving. But over time, after doing it for so long, after feeding your mind information about driving and having the experience and getting educated for so long, your subconscious mind picked it up, where now you can text and drive, you can change the music and drive, you can do all type of stuff while you're driving. Not, recommended, but you have the ability to do that because your subconscious mind, your automatic mind, knows how to do this now. So your subconscious mind is likened to like a hard drive. And so I have this hard drive, and just the other day I found out how much space was on this hard drive. So on my Mac, my wife was having an issue because I had all these videos saved from Mindset Masters just over the years, and it was computer was just stuff with like the gigabytes was full. And so I started having to take the videos off the computer and put them onto the hard drive. And so I saw that I had like taken up like 96 gigs on the computer with just videos, like hour-long videos. And I'm like, dang, 96 gigs, that seemed like a lot, because the computer was basically maxed out. And I'm looking at this little bitty hard drive, like, dang, I wonder how much I can put on this, because I haven't been using this for years. And so I finally looked at what it said. It said 4 terabytes. And I was like, dang, 4 terabytes. How much is 4 terabytes? Well, 4 terabytes is 4,000 gigabytes. I'm sitting here tripping about the 96 gigabytes that I had taken up on this computer, but the hard drive, 4,000 gigabytes. Now, think about this. Your subconscious mind has a much more in-depth storage capacity than this 4,000 gigabyte hard drive. Your subconscious mind, or your automatic mind, your level 2 mind, it is the storage house for all of your memories and your experiences in life. But your subconscious mind cannot accept or reject any thought or idea, or it can't reject any idea. It only accepts what has been fed over time. So when we're talking about the soul and we're talking about the mind, what we're talking about is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, the manual mind and the automatic mind. And to win at life, you have to unify those minds and recruit your manual mind to work for your automatic mind. And you feed what you want your manual mind, you feed your manual mind what you want your subconscious mind, your automatic mind to automatically act upon. You do that consistently. And this is how you change identity. You change things about your life. Because again, guard your mind more than you guard anything else. Because out of the mind, out of the heart, life flows. But these two minds are both formed. What if I told you that there was another mind that wasn't formed, but this mind was created? Because remember, you're a three-part being living in three different realms, and you have three sets or three states of consciousness. So level 1 consciousness is your conscious mind, your manual mind. Level 2 consciousness is your subconscious mind, or your automatic mind. But if I'm a spiritual being and my spirit has already been here and it comes installed with knowledge, and my spiritual essence predates my physical existence, meaning my spirit man was already here before my physical man, and God knew my spirit man before he formed my physical man. That must mean that my spirit man has a mind of its own that was not formed, but this mind was created when my spirit was created. Is that too far out for me to think? Let me know in the chat box. Am I tripping? Or does that sound like more than likely? Because it's facts. But just let me know in the chat if I'm tripping. Like, if I'm a three-part being and my soul picks up from everything from the world, and my soul is corruptible, but I'm a three-part being, and the true version of me is spirit, and my spiritual essence predates my physical existence. That must mean that my spirit operates with something different because my subconscious mind and my conscious mind are formed. My spirit must possess something different. And this, my friend, is your created mind. This is your super consciousness. This is your God mind. This is the mind that has divine intelligence built into it. This mind learns nothing from this world. It learns nothing from your experiences, but it's all knowing and it's all powerful. What does that mean? It knows everything about your life. It doesn't know everything about everything, but it knows everything about your life. It's all powerful. It's not all powerful over other people and other things, but it's all powerful over every assignment, everything concerning your life. And it's also omnipresent, meaning it's everywhere at the same time about everything concerning your life. Because God's spirit is omnipotent, it's omnipresent, and it's omniscient. If you have that same spirit, then and his spirit is like that for his creation and everything concerning his creation in him, it must be like that for you concerning everything about your assignment. So your spirit is omnipresent like God's concerning your life. Your spirit is omniscient like God concerning your life. And it's all powerful, it's omnipotent like God concerning your life. Your super consciousness, your God-like level of thinking knows exactly how to win in life. It knows the exact people that you need for your assignment. It knows everything. And when you tap into this level of consciousness, because it's available to you, you can now think more creatively. You can think more intuitively. You're able to tap into hidden knowledge and get divine revelation. You get mental clarity. And guess what clarity brings with it? Clarity brings speed. See, people drive very slow when they don't know where they're going. People make missteps when they don't know where they're going. But when you get clear, you can now move with speed. So when you're able to tap into this level of consciousness, you get all those benefits that I just said. You think creatively, you're more intuitive, you tap into hidden knowledge and divine revelation. You even read the Bible completely different because you're not reading it from your soulish state, but you're reading it from a spiritual state. Even when you pray, you no longer pray from a soulish state, but you pray from a spiritual state. That's another call for another day. That's a whole nother loaf of bread. Praying from a spiritual state and not a soulless state, because God communicates with spiritual beings because he is a spiritual being. And sometimes prayers may not get acted upon because we're praying from them from a soulless state and our soul is corrupted and our soul doesn't know what to pray for. But listen, that's how deep we can go down this rabbit hole. You understand what I'm saying? The rabbit hole is deep. But we just don't got that much time on these calls. But trust me, it gets deep. So when you when you tap into this mind, you're able to think creatively, intuitively. You get clarity. Clarity brings with it speed. So here's the deal. In Hebrews, it says, "For the word of God is quick and powerful, and it's sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting between both soul and spirit." So this scripture lets us know, if you had any doubt or any question about your soul and your spirit being different, this scripture lets us know that the word of God is powerful and it cuts between both soul and spirit. When soul and spirit are really like this, the word of God cuts between that, right? And so here's what you have to understand about your spirit. You can talk to your spirit and your spirit can talk back to you. Oh, this is so good. I hope you're paying attention. Because if you never got anything else from me, if you just got this and study this information, it'll change your life. So, how does my spirit hear me? Well, my spirit hears me through pictorial, present, and positive commands, like I am type affirmations, because when you say I am, it it activates the God part of you. Because in Exodus, this is the first time I believe that we're hearing God use this language of I am. Whatever you need me to be, I am. When they ask me who sent me, just say I am has sent me. Because if you need me to part the Red Seas, I am. If you need me to send bread from heaven, I am. I am. So the I amness, that language, it activates something. But here's the deal. Don't miss the first word that I said, pictorial. Your spirit hears you through pictorial images that you create in your mind along with present affirmations. Not I will be, not I was, but I am present because your spirit, remember, it does not know time. Your spirit has always been here. So it doesn't know anything about future. It only knows the now. Because remember, you have the Spirit of God in you. The Spirit of God only knows now. I am. I am so happy and grateful now. So your spirit hears you through pictorial, present, and positive commands. I am affirmations. But watch this. Number 2, creative questions. Creative questions. See, many times when we're faced with a challenge, we ask the questions like, why is this? Why me? We ask why questions. That's not the question that you should really be asking. The question that you should really be asking are more so how questions and who questions. When I say how can I? Because when you ask the question, how can I, that assumes that there is an answer. That assumes that there is some type of solution to this problem that I'm currently facing. But when I ask why, I get a disempowering answer when that answer does come. But when I say, how can I, that assumes that there's a solution. Creative questions like, who must I become? Who must I become? Who can help me get this done? See, these questions are much more paramount than why questions. So your spirit hears you through pictorial, present, and positive commands and affirmations, but also creative questions because these creative questions ignite the fire in this giant that lays sleep in your mind. We're going to get there. So your spirit hears you through pictorial, present, and positive commands, creative questions, but your spirit speaks to you, listen, through pictures. Your spirit speaks to you through pictures, associations, instincts, impressions. But let me pause with pictures real quick because you remember in Genesis, I think 12, 13, somewhere in that ballpark, when God took Abraham outside his tent and said, look up, count the stars if you can. He was giving him what? A picture of what his descendants will look like. I can even do you one better because we was just talking about Jeremiah. So if we go to Jeremiah chapter 1, God says, look, Jeremiah, what do you see? And Jeremiah replies, I see a branch from an almond tree. And the Lord said, that's right. And it means that I am watching and I will certainly carry out all my plans. Then the Lord spoke to me again and asked, what do you see now? And I replied, I see a boiling pot of water spilling from the north. Yes, the Lord said, for terror from the north will boil out on the people of this land. Listen, I am calling all the armies of the kings of the north to Jerusalem. I, the Lord, have spoken. He was showing him pictures in his mind because your spirit hears you through pictorial type commands, but also speaks to you through pictures, associations, instincts, impressions, inclinations, ideas, hunches, symbols, recognition, and peace. This is how your spirit speaks to you. So when you have that gut feeling, that's your spirit. When you have that, dang, man, I knew I shouldn't have went there, and something happens there, that was your spirit telling you not to go. That's your spirit. And your spirit passes information on to your soul. When your spirit picks it up, it passes it to your soul. And then you process it with your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Or I'm sorry, you don't process anything with your subconscious mind. You process it with your conscious mind. And you can choose to accept or reject that thoughts. So that's how you communicate with this spirit this spiritual essence, this spiritual part of you that has dominion over everything. But how do I tap into that wholeheartedly? How do I make that regular in my life? Well, I'm going to be very quick right here. And this is going to bring us to the end of the call. There's 4 ways that you can tap into this level of super consciousness, your God type mind, your this God level of awareness, the mind of you that is so creative, it can create pretty much anything that it's fed. Step number 1, or I don't like saying the word step, but it's a step. You have to identify with the spiritual version of you and come to awareness of this true identity. Because remember, at the top of the call, I said something. I said, man, you have to really believe that what you're reading in this Bible is real and that man was formed from the dust of the ground and God breathed this breath of life into man. And man, every man, whether you're an atheist or you're a believer, you carry the spirit of God. You carry his breath. The breath that we breathe is not even our breath, it's his breath. You have to believe that, because when you believe that and become one with that, you are now a step closer to tapping into this level of super consciousness where your spirit truly resides. Because everything that we do in this life flows from who we believe that we are. Everything that we do, it flows from who we believe that we are. So if we don't believe that we are that, then we won't do that. All right. So speaking about all this stuff about conscious mind, subconscious mind, my son Keegan, I've been literally, I mentioned the last call, like it's the highlight of my life right now in terms of molding my son into an athlete. And so a lot of the stuff that we're doing, it holds no relevance in his life right now because he's 5. He don't really care. He's really talented, but don't even care that he's talented. He would much rather play Roblox, watch YouTube, watch Netflix, than go out there and do the sports stuff that we do. But he does it every single day with a happy attitude. But what happens is, what's going to happen over time through me feeding his mind all this stuff about sports, athletics, baseball, at some point it's going to trigger, it's going to click like, wait a minute, I'm an athlete. So he does what athletes do because I've been feeding and programming it to be that way. His mind, his subconscious mind can't, that's the only thing it's gonna accept. My job as the parent is to keep feeding him, keep educating him about the game, keep giving him experiences about the game, keep giving him reps. You understand? Keep doing that part. And his subconscious mind is only going to accept that. It's going to be the only thing that he knows. So I'm not looking at 5 years old. I'm looking at 10 years old. Because if I continue this path for 5 years, it don't matter what he says consciously that he wants to do. Subconsciously, he's programmed to be an athlete, and it's already in his genetics. So how did I get there? Oh, identity. Because everything that we do flows from who we believe that we are. So when my kid starts to believe that he's an athlete, that he's a star baseball player, his actions are going to show that. But right now, it's about just getting him to believe that. How do I get him to believe that? Environment, associations, information, and experiences. And you know what's so interesting? We're going to be able to come back to these videos years from now and be like, you said it. Because the mind, it only accepts what you give it. And if you're 5 years old, if this is the only thing that I give you, what is your mind going to accept? So you have to identify with this high version of you, this spiritual version of you. This is the first initiative into you making this a part of your day-to-day life. But here's a second component to it. Your mind needs a major mission to bring about its majestic nature. This mind that we're talking about, this God consciousness, this mind needs a major mission to bring about its majestic nature. There has to be a real need for its power. Think about it. Speaking of my kids, if I wanted to power a toy for Keegan or Kobe, all I need is some AA batteries, maybe even a little AAA joint, right? Maybe one if I want to power up a toy. But if I wanted to power the city that we live in, oh, I need a power plant. So there has to be a real need for this power. There has to be some type of major mission to bring about the majestic nature of this power. Because if you're just trying to do something like make an extra 1,000 a month, that mind is going to stay asleep. You don't need that mind for that. You just need some AA batteries. Does this make sense? It's not until there's something major, there's a demand, there's a real need for its power, that the sleeping giant that lays deep under your subconscious mind wakes up because it feels this draw upon it. So your super conscious mind, this super high level of thinking, this is the sleeping giant that lays layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers deep, so deep that many people don't even know that it exists. So deep. And it takes work to draw and dig upon that mind to wake that giant up to change everything about your life. To have the needed, necessary energy that's needed to change your life. So the number one, identify with this spiritual version of you. Come to the awareness of your true identity wholeheartedly with no doubt in your mind, and know that this mind is available to you. The same mind that Jesus used to exercise miracles in his day is the same level of mind that you have the capacity to tap into for your life to change your situation and transform your life, whether it be business, relational, financial, whatever it may be. But it has to be something that's so grand and so large that you can tap into this mind. It has to be something that benefits the needs of other people to even wake this mind up, because this mind is not about you. Right? And so number three, we already kind of discussed this one, but creative questions. So I'm not asking myself why. I'm asking myself, who must I become? How can I get this done? Because when I do that, I'm assuming that there is an answer somewhere for this problem or this issue that I have. So creative questions. And then the final component here is be still and know. Be still and know. Because to tap into this mind, see, creation happens at night, manifestation happens in the lights. So in your quiet time, you're thinking about this mind. You want this mind to speak to your soul and change and give you information, give you structure, instructions and steps, show you people so that you now know the proper way to take efficient action. Be still and know. So number one, identify. Number two, have a major mission that can draw on its majestic nature. Number three, ask creative questions, not questions of why, but questions of how. And most importantly, be still and know. Think about this mind. Think and know that this mind is available to you. And know that if you've gotten this far in life without using this level of thinking, how much further could you go? How much further could you go if you knew this information? If you knew that your spirit possessed a mind that knows everything about everything concerning your life, and you have the means and the ability and the capacity to tap into that. But again, I ask you, what does it profit for a man to gain the world but lose his soul? Because it's with your soul submitted to your spirit that you have the capacity to unlock the creative genius that lies in the depths of who you truly are, a spiritual being having a physical experience with your soul navigating everything. And it's not until your soul becomes submitted to your spirit again that you can now access this creative genius. So, is there anything worth more than the soul? I hope this blessed you. I love y'all. I love y'all. I told you it was going to be good. I told you. I told you. I told you. And I hope I was moving a little bit slow tonight so that you can kind of process and chew on what I was putting down. But if not, that's what you got the recording for. So I thank y'all for y'all time tonight. I'm going to open it up real quick for any questions, comments, feedback. If you got something you want to share, ask. The floor is open.